At the break of dawn, each person will have 86,400 seconds to complete the day's tasks. In your immediate vicinity alone, thousands of individuals will walk a few hundred yards to get to places where millions of transactions are closed in mere seconds. Exchanges that used to take a few minutes to complete can now be signed, sealed, and delivered with one click, slide, or tap. The question is, did everything get through without a hitch, or was there a glitch? Hello everyone, my name is Bea Santiago, and this is Currency Affairs. This series aims to shed more light on the technology that is conveniently and safely changing the way people manage and protect their finances. Nowadays, accessibility, transparency, and security of transactions are key to the success of many industries. Be it for information or the transfer and purchase of products or services, there is no denying the importance of assuring customers that credibility of all participating parties are intact. This is the backbone behind the blockchain technology. And to give us a better understanding of what blockchain is, we're here with Attorney Rafael Padilla, co-founder of Blockchain Association of the Philippines. Thank you, Attorney Rafael, for being here. First questions first. In layman's terms, what is blockchain?
Okay, so blockchain is basically a distributed ledger technology first implemented in Bitcoin. Important thing to understand here is the concept of a ledger. It's basically a record, a database. Typically in a client-server architecture, you only have somebody who is holding this ledger. In the concept of blockchain, multiple persons or individuals or actors are holding or have the same record or database. And this is being validated automatically by a system among them. So that's basically how blockchain works.
So what are the key components of the blockchain?
So the key components of blockchain for me personally is one, this concept of cryptography, in particular asymmetric cryptography, which is basically an architecture where you have so-called public key and a private key. This is critical when it comes to the security model of blockchain. The other concept here is or a component of this is distributed systems. As I've said earlier, there is no one controller or administrator of this ledger, which means that there is also no single point of attack. The other component of this is the so-called consensus algorithm, which is basically a way to validate the transactions. And the last component of blockchain is the existence of a native token, a crypto asset, because that crypto asset is very important when it comes to encouraging adopters of the network or users of the network, and also to incentivize the network or the community to secure that network.
Mm-hmm. But how about how do you ensure security and transparency in transactions?
The way to secure these transactions that are happening in a blockchain, for instance, in the context of Bitcoin, also relates to those components that I mentioned earlier. For instance, the use of cryptography, and that is by adapting this public key and private key architectures. The other way to secure the transaction is, again, by distributing it, the same ledger, decentralizing it. Hackers cannot attack or cannot disable the network because that ledger is held by different nodes or by different persons. If we talk about how to ensure transparency, this is one important point that we have to clarify, because there's a lot of misconceptions on whether transactions happening on the blockchain are anonymous. But that is actually wrong. The reason for that is your transactions are very visible there on the public blockchain. And currently, today, we have blockchain explorers that could help facilitate reviewing those transactions. And aside from this, we also have blockchain analytics tools that actually help us see and understand what's going on in the blockchain. So very bad idea for a criminal.
Though all blocks or recordings are accessible for everyone's consumption, only those with a special cryptographic key can add a new record to a particular chain.
Simply put, once a transaction has been made, there's no way it can be faked or manipulated, as it was securely recorded and backed up in multiple copies.
And because it already offers access to information, a reliable recording of actions, and identity verification, the blockchain technology also brings back some of the comforts of personal transactions.
So, Attorney Rafael, how did the blockchain technology help the double spending problem?
Yeah. This problem has been solved by Bitcoin and by the different implementations of blockchain technology afterwards. By having this system of ensuring that the transactions are being validated and being transferred, that if something is being transferred, it will no longer be in the possession of that transferor. The way to validate this transaction is through this system of a consensus approved by that network, agreed by that network.
There's a lot of talk about banks being disintermediated. I mean, will banks become obsolete? Can you please comment about this?
I don't think blockchain technology or crypto assets will disintermediate banks or financial institutions. As a matter of fact, you will see that in this space, some of the banks are even banding together to develop their own distributed ledger. What I think will happen is, because banks now have a competitor, and this is the different decentralized systems that we have, I think this will force banks to improve their processes so that they will be more competitive. The service will be cheaper. It will no longer be a rip-off. Right? And at the end of the day, I think this will be extremely beneficial to the banking public.
Can you cite a relatable example of how blockchain technology is applied every day?
Some of the use cases that I really feel excited about is, for instance, when it comes to social media. We all use social media on daily basis, if not for we're almost there for hours, right? Every day. There's this one application, it's called Steemit. It's basically a social media. The concept is when you post something online, and also when you like a post, you get compensated or paid through a token. In other words, this platform enables users to be compensated in their activities in this network. That has never been accomplished before. And also in relation to in the context of a use case that is extremely relevant for Filipinos, is this use case of being able to remit funds or money overseas to their Filipino relatives or family members. I'm talking about using blockchain technology for remittance. We have heard of the experience of many of our friends, family, and relatives as to how agonizing it is to fall in line just to be able to send money. And it's expensive, and not only it's expensive, there's no assurance when the money will be received on the other end. Blockchain technology, through the use of cryptocurrency, could actually enable funds to be remitted in the Philippines faster, almost instant, and a relatively cheaper cost, if not insignificant.
Let's say you are sending money or other valuables digitally. Instead of having to course your payment through a third-party financial service, dealings can now be made directly between the parties. Quick and easy with no worries.
This is the reassurance offered by the blockchain technology. Control equals security, and trust is never going to be an issue. Now that the technology has been established, how is it utilized? Catch us again next week as we delve even deeper into what this new technology has to offer and how you can take full advantage of its benefits. I'm Bea Santiago, and this is Currency Affairs.